Hi everyone, Allison here for Blackcatscraps. I have some really small clothespins that I picked up at the hobby store, and I'm coloring them with a red calligraphy pen. It doesn't matter what kind you use, just as long as it's a color you like, and I like it to be red. And if you don't want to get ink all over your fingers, you can always clip them on like a piece of paper or something. Right, now I have some 18 gauge wire and some pliers, and I'm going to manipulate to the end into a little hook shape like a hanger, and then bend it a little bit down. And it'll take a little bit of manipulating and eyeballing it and measuring and stuff to get the hanger the shape that you want. So, and remember to add your clothespins before you twist up the hanger together. Now, sometimes when I make these hangers, it is done immediately as in a snap, and this one, as I'm showing you, I actually had a little trouble with, so I guess that's good that you guys get to see what I do with when I get a snag. So I ended up manipulating this one quite a bit, trying to make the left side even with the right was my goal here, and it kept being a little lopsided, so having like a grid mat or something to find center and everything definitely helped. And it can be any shape hanger that you want, and be sure to clip off the end. And if you have any kinks, you can always use the flat part of your pliers to bend it straight. Alright, so I'm taking the bag from Victoria's Secret. The bra straps normally come in these, I believe, and they have little ribbons that they tie. So I've cut about halfway down, about the length that looks normal for shorts, and I'm going to snip right in the center of the crotch. So on both sides you're going to want to fold over that snip we just made and sew along that. Now I found instead of going in and back through from the back side to just do a loop stitch, like what I'm showing you here. It seemed to keep the material from fraying this way. So it was pretty easy to sew these together. And when you get to the end, you don't have to necessarily tie it off, because what I ended up doing is putting a little foam heart over the no-no bits, or Victor's Secret. Here's my little stash of goodies. Some of those are foam hearts that I've bought, and a couple paper ones that I made. Alright, and then just sew the heart on. And this one you're going to want to stitch normally from the top and then go to the back and then the back to the front. And just keep making sure that your heart is straight. And for the ribbon, you're going to want to fold it at the R and the I, and make sure you don't have any of the I showing. So you can use an iron if you really want to. I just pinch it with my fingers, and then I line the ribbon up next to the apostrophe S. So we're taking out the IR and leaving Victor. So you can go ahead and sew this. Just make sure that none of your stitches crosses over the wording. Make sure when you are folding and sewing and everything that the ribbon stays square and straight, so you don't have any curve in your ribbon. And I'm going to do a stitch all the way down both sides of the folds. So the R, in between the R and the S there's a fold, and on the back side between the R and the O there's a fold. So you may actually have to sew in the letters, so like here on the R. So just make sure that you keep it clean. Alright, and when you're getting ready to finish, you just go through part of the fabric or the ribbon here, and then you'll stick your needle through the loop that you made, and then you're probably going to want to do that a second time over the same stitch you just did. That's kind of like doing a back stitch on a sewing machine, and that should help the end from coming undone. And it's a good idea to do this ending stitch with all the sewing that you do. Alright, and then when sewing this ribbon onto the shorts, you're going to want to center the wording, of course. And what I ended up doing is taking the hanger and clothespins to pin the ribbon where I wanted it. And then I folded the extra ribbon to the back, and then just sewed it straight onto the pants. So when stitching this, you're going to want to make sure that you tack both ends pretty well. And when you're going across the ribbon, it's alright to do a loose stitch, just as long as the stitch that shows in the front is actually pretty close together when you go back through the ribbon. So if you're going to cross a lot of distance, just make sure that the thread is in the back. It's always a good idea to inspect your work. Attach your clothespins to your pants, and you can add a cute little touch to it by adding some ribbon to cover up the twisted part of the hangers. And I found it was a lot easier to pre-tie the ribbon before I stuck it on, or you could always, tie the ribbon on first and then cut it off the spool. So thanks everyone for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, share the video, and favorite it. I don't know. And if you haven't watched the video for me making the card with Victor's pants, you have to watch it. So click the link here. And did you know that sexy men like sexy cards? That's why the card's for sale on my Etsy shop.